Hello, welcome to Dog Food with Catherine Abel, the show about dogs that feeds the mind and spirit. My neighbors they got a Morkie dog. A Morkie is a Yorkshire Terrier Maltese mix, and this one turned out you don't see the Morkie. You don't see the Maltese. The only bit of the Maltese that you saw was the tail. The tail curled back. It was a perfect circle. The tail curled back on his back. His name was Ike. And they're tiny. I mean, there's a tiny. What was he at the end? 17 pounds, 15 pounds, something like that. And they got him when he was about 5 weeks, 6 weeks old. Reputable breeders do not allow their puppies to go until they're 8 to 9 weeks old. So he was 5 or 6. That's why we roll down here. Y'all know that by now. And they just let him loose. The road in front of my house, people go down. I've seen people going down at 65 miles an hour. You can get up to that kind of speed, and they do it. We have 18-wheelers going down here. Heavy traffic. Not heavy, but because it's a neighborhood. But there's traffic, and he was just out crossing the road. Yeah, little tiny. I mean, he could fit in. He could fit in two of my hands, two hands together. He'd fit there. Cute. Oh my gosh, you talk about cute. I'm talking darling. Darling. And at the same time, my other neighbors got a miniature pie. They got a miniature piebald Dachshund. And oh my goodness. Oh, just precious. Oh my gosh. And so I'd look up, and the Morkie and the piebald Dachshund would be duking it out in the yard, in my next door neighbor's yard. I mean, just wrestling. And sometimes you couldn't. They were so little, and the grass was about 4 inches tall. It might as well have been the grasslands of Nebraska. That's how tall it was to them, because they would wrestle and you wouldn't see them. They would literally disappear, and then they would roll out, jump up, and you know how they do that, where they go chest to chest in that fake growling. Oh my gosh, it was too cute, too precious. Okay, but them going back and forth across the street was not very cute. And so who did I have? I had my black lab mix at that time, and Ike, he fell in love with her. I mean, he literally fell in love with this dog, and she could care less. She loves me, and that's about it. I mean, really and truly, this dog loves me, and that's it. But he fell in love. So he was over here all the time. And the family who lived there, they were working all the time. They were never home. And so he was over here with me, or my big black dog. And, of course, he can come in and out, God, he was so cute. Oh, that dog was so cute. He was a rascal, though. This dog is a piece of work. Because here's what he would do. I would have fosters. And then eventually he lived over here all the time. And, of course, they left him eventually. When they moved, they left him. And good. He was happy, taken care of, and somewhat protected, because he would always find a way out of the fence. And he was street savvy, okay, and young and agile, because we're going to the woods all the time. You should have seen that dog's thighs. Go look up I think it's called a Belgian blue bull. That's what this dog looked like, his thighs. He was that muscular, because they're going to the woods. And one thing about little dogs, you can take them to the woods. However, they need backup. So I had the cur and the black lab mix for backup, because if Ike sussed out anything, they were coming in fast. So there was no worry that he would be carried off, attacked, because I had the two big dogs, hunting dogs, and they do have aggressive tendencies. So he was safe, but I mean, and he liked to run. I mean, that was his favorite thing to do in the world, is run and run full blast. He was a piece of work. So I would have fosters, and but my fence is set up for big dogs. So my big dogs can't get out, but a little dog can get out. And I mean, I'm plugging up the fence. It was just a fiasco. But he would always find a way out. And if I had a little to medium-sized dog foster, here's what he would do. He would get out somehow, and he would get on the other side of the fence, 3 feet away from the fence, and he would sit down and taunt the other dog, trying to get that dog to get out. I'm telling you, this is true. And so the dog either would get out or would not get out. If they got out, I'm like, you know what? He or she can't stay. But he would look at the dog, and I'd go look at him. Ike, what are you doing? I knew what he was doing. He was trying to get the other dog killed, okay? Because he would take the dog to the street. He would take the dog to the street. I'm not kidding you. He would not go. I've got acres on either side of me, and I have woods in the back. How much fun are the woods? No going to the woods. You're going to the road. You're going to get killed. You don't belong here. So I had to stop the little dogs. I couldn't foster them anymore. And so peace was restored to the land. And then my cur came into my life. And she came into my life as a puppy. And I thought she was a Chihuahua. That's how little and sickly she was. And perfect to me. Y'all know she's perfect. I mean, she's perfect. So guess what he would do? He would try to get her to get out and go to the road. And I knew his tricks, and I'm like, you got 1 month of this, and then she's going to be too big. She's not going to be able to get out of the fence. Well, one day I was raking the yard. I don't know what. 3 seconds, look down, and I hear a scream. She got run over, of course. And I look up, and guess what? Ike is sitting there, literally sitting down, and I'm talking sloppy sitting, like, yeah, mission accomplished. Not sitting up on his haunches all at attention and looking pretty. He's sitting down sloppy, like leaning on one hip, other leg stretched out, looking straight at me. Yeah, we ending this. We got enough dogs here. So run to the vet. And the person who ran over her was my next door neighbor who had Alzheimer's. Never should have been driving a car. However, it happened. So I rush her to the vet, and we get x-rays, and her leg is broken. I mean, it's broken. Her right leg is broken on both the bones. One of them is cleaner. The other one is a jaggedy break, okay? The other one is kind of clean, but it's slanted, but broken. Boom, broken. And she has a fracture in the other big bone of her other leg, okay? So I take her to the vet. They take a bunch of x-rays. I don't know, 7 or 8, something like that. And they're like, her leg is broken. And this is a 9-week-old black mouth cur. There were 2 veterinarians there who had been veterinarians for a total of 26 minutes between them. One for 12 minutes and the other one for 14 minutes. And so here's what they told me. They're like, here are your options. And I said, great, what? We can do surgery, and we'll put pins in there, and it'll repair like that. Or we can amputate. And I said, is there anything else? And they said, yeah, there's another one. But the pins, we've done that. And I said, listen, this is a black mouth cur. I said, do you know how fast these dogs grow? I said, this is a big dog. And they're looking at me, they're like, oh God, they're looking at me like, ma'am, you know what? We're the veterinarians. And we've told you. So I said, look, what's the last? Is there anything else? And they said, yeah, there's one more thing. At that point in time, they unwittingly double teamed me. They exchanged a look that said, we have told this non-medical, non-veterinarian person the plan. The plan is the pins. That's what we're promoting here. And we've been veterinarians for almost half an hour between us, so we know. Or you can amputate. It's up to you. Either way, you need a knife going in. So I said, what's the third one? They said, nothing. You do nothing. And they looked at me like, lady, that's the wrong choice. You do nothing and nothing's going to happen. They're looking at me. They're not saying it out loud. They're looking at me. I'm thinking, I said, you know what? I'm going to go with option C. I said, how do I proceed doing the nothing thing? And they said, well, you got to keep her in a crate. You keep her in a crate for 8 weeks, 8 to 12 weeks, and you do not let her out. You'd never let her out. I said, okay, I'm doing it. So I brought her home, got and another thing too, when I came in with her, I had empty. Of course, I got kennels and crates all over the place here because it's dog centric. My life is dog centric, and I love it like that. And so I had a plastic crate. And so her leg is broken. What am I going to do? Put her in the back of the car, just flopping around, going over the bumps in the road? No. So I got the crate, and she's traumatized, right? This little 9-week-old. How long had I had her? A couple of weeks? 2? I don't know. No, I probably got her when she was 4 weeks, 5 weeks old. I mean, So I got the bottom of the crate. I took the kennel, one of those plastic kennels. I took the plastic kennel, the ones you take when you go fly. So I took it apart, and it was big enough for me to put a towel in it that smelled like me, a used towel, and then I put one of my down puffy coats in there. And that's how I brought her in there. And they looked at me, and when I brought her in there, and they said, wow. And I was like, what's going on? And they said, well, nobody's ever come in here with this. I'm going, well, this is the way we roll at my place. She's got to be comfortable. And then they're like, they told me this too. They said, we're going to need to observe her overnight. This has happened to me at a couple of vets' offices. I had a little hiccup with my big black dog one time. And I said, okay, y'all going to, I said, who's going to be here? And they said, nobody. I said, well, who's going to observe her? And they said, nobody. I said, well, how are you going to observe her when no one's here? And she's going to be by herself all night in a metal. I said, no, I'm taking her home. We're going to do the option C. We're going to roll with it. So here's how I did it. There are rescues. There's this rescue up here. I don't know what it's called. LA Baby Mama, something like that. And all this lady does, well, I think primarily what she does, and she is renowned in this area for just being so gifted, and she has saved so many frail puppies. I mean, there's no telling how many this lady, and she does it. So she gets these puppies who will not nurse, or the mother dies, and then, or who are not. It's always a state of emergency. When the puppy goes to this lady, they're about to die, because that's a last ditch deal. Because everybody's got to come up with the money in these rescues. Nobody has any money up here. Nobody has any money in a rescue up here. And so that lady does it full time, caring for these ill little bitty old puppies. The attention, she's obviously got nursing something or other in her blood. I could never do that. I just couldn't. So this is what you have to do. This is what I had to do for my little girl. I got the crate out, of course, rigged it up with cushions, not too cushiony so she could move around, and a big one, too big for her, so she had room. And so for 8 weeks, she was in that crate, and she never got out. I never let her out. She ate in there, and she had a sitter. She was only alone for 2 hours a day, and during that 2 hours, she was sleeping. The rest of the time, either I was here or the sitter was here. And the sitter who was here with her was the person who was with me when I got her. So they had that connection. She loved this dog. So that was it. And so when I was not here, I had the sitter here talking to her, cooing everything, and keeping company, never letting her out. If waste came out of her, it was immediately clean. She was never in her waste ever. And so she stayed in that crate for 8 weeks. I put toys in there, fed her in there, everything. If I went outside, I hauled the crate with me. If I mowed the yard, I hauled the crate with me so she could watch me mow the yard. Mowed the front yard, I put the crate where she could see me. I went to the backyard, hauled the crate back there so she could see me when I mowed the backyard. If I sat outside, she was out there with me. She was always out there. Yes, the amount of work, labor intensive, that's the understatement of the year. I mean, constant attention. Constant attention. Gosh, she was so pretty. I remember I've got a photo of her. She was so pretty and sleek. I mean, sleek, her coat. Black-mouthed curs have beautiful coats. Hers is very light, but she's got a lot of black in it. It's very interesting. Very interesting. Very beautiful. Blends. When we go to the woods, you can't even see her. She totally disappears in the trees. I mean, completely. It's even my black dog. It's amazing. Those hunting dogs, the way the color of their coats just blends in with the forest. I mean, blends like you can't see them, okay, unless they run out. If they're standing still, you're sitting there looking for them. So, golly, that dog, she's cool. She's a wild one, but... So anyhow, that was it. I mean, 8 weeks of her being in there, the attention... I mean, I documented. I had to sit her documenting like she was a patient. It was that kind of care and attention. I wanted to know what was she doing. And you know what would freak me out? You know how she spent most of her time? On her back with her legs splayed. Okay? I mean, legs splayed. And she would just look at you. I'd go, are you sure that's what you need to be doing? And she would just look at me just happy. She was, she was fine in there. Golly. I don't know what happened in that crate to her. I don't know how it transpired that she came out of that crate, as wild as she is. But what I've come to believe is that what I was saying, she interpreted it in another language completely. Because here's some of the stuff that I would say. I'd say, you are so precious and loved and perfect and pretty baby girl. But here's what she heard. You are hereby appointed as chairman of the Citizens Arrest Committee. You are the only member of the entire committee. Therefore, the daily quota is entirely up to you. From time to time, you may have volunteers. It is entirely up to you. You may usurp their quota or reject them altogether. You have my permission to take the leg off of anyone you feel called to do so. And then I'd say, I love you, little girl. You're doing so good. I can't get over how beautiful you are. Here's what she heard. When I'm at the gate, blatantly allowing entry to a beloved guest / suspected trespasser, you will bark like a maniac at them non-stop, completely ignoring the gentle repetition of your name 52 times. Once said beloved guest / suspected trespasser has officially entered the property, you will abruptly stop barking and stare at us for 5 solid seconds. Sensing no death threats, you will then seek out a decayed leaf no longer than 3 inches, which you will daintily grab in your mouth and shake it coquettishly at both of us. You will allow no one to pet you, even though both of us are lovingly reaching toward you. Here's what I said. What you doing, Ray Ray? What you doing, Ray? What you doing, Ray Ray? What you doing, Ray Ray? Here's what she heard. You will turn away from us with the leaf protruding 1.5 inches from the front of your mouth and prance like a princess ahead of us all the way to the front door. When the front door is opened and you are cordially invited inside, you will completely ignore the invitation. Upon the immediate closing of said front door, you will prance to the dog door and enter, as you usually do, at least 489 times a day. Something like this I would say to her. You are the best girl in the world. And here's what she heard. You will prance walk into the living room and, with the leaf intact and protruding consistently from your mouth, you will look at us a full 2 seconds. Satisfied that you have single-handedly restored peace to the land, you will turn and leave, silently communicating to anyone who has the mother wit to understand that your daily quota has not been met. Here's what I said. You are a black-mouthed cur. You don't and will never have any idea what back down means. Your elegant ferocity is driven by the profoundest love any being is capable of. Your loyalty and consideration for your family's safety supersede your regard for your being and even your own life. You are a black-mouthed cur, my brave one. You are, and you will always be, held close and cherished. And that's what she heard. Fast forward 6 years. Still fostering. And she is submissive. You would never believe it in a million years, but she is submissive. But she will bark in your face, and the fosters would attack her. I'm serious, okay? I mean, she would bark nonstop. So I come home one day, and she's limping. And I'm not going to go run down to the vet at the sign of a limp and a black-mouthed car. You just wait a minute. And then the second day, she was limping. And I said, well, I started thinking, I mean, who wouldn't, right? I'm like, I wonder what those bones look like. I wonder. So I took her down to the vet in Bastrop, Louisiana. This guy is amazing. Incredible human being. Incredible veterinarian. And I told him the story. Hey, they told me to do pins, and then they said amputate. I said no. I took her home, and now she's limping. I need to know if everything's okay in there. And this he's in his 70s. I mean, he's been doing this for a very long time, and he loves it. He loves his job. I bet he's one of those, and he's so nice, and he's always so happy and in a good mood. And he's totally a country vet. He's one of these. This is the kind of guy he is. House calls, not a problem. And, it's a rural area, so we all have animals around here. And cows and horses, pigs, chickens, you name it. So, you can't bring those animals. You got to go to that house. And so this is the kind of guy, and I hope y'all have met people like this. He would come to your house and deliver your cow or check on your horse, see whatever's going on. And then if you had a plumbing problem that arose, he would come in and help you with that. No problem. And he probably got paid in vegetables, meat, and eggs more than he got paid in cash. And that was okay with him. That's the kind of guy he is. And of course, his practice is thriving. It's a thriving practice. All of his staff, they're so friendly. Gosh, I mean, it's just, y'all know what I'm talking about. So I go and drop her off, and I'm like, she'll bite you, because she'll bite. So I said, be careful, because you either fall in love with her or she's going to bite me, because she is precious looking. She's precious looking. Oh my goodness. I mean, she's just lovely. They're perfectly formed, just wild. And so I'm in the car waiting, thinking, trying not to think about what I'm about to learn. And so he calls me, he says, everything's fine. And I'm like, what do you mean everything's fine? And I'm in the car. I've got a slow motion phone that sometimes works and sometimes doesn't, the connection. And he goes, well, I just sent the x-rays to your phone, your email. And I couldn't get them. I said, so everything looks good? And he goes, oh yeah. He goes, in fact, the bones they're stronger than ever, probably stronger than before. And I said, why did that? I said, how could that happen? And I'm telling you guys, I wish I could show you the X-rays. I mean, broken, flat out broken, no doubt about it. One jaggedy and one kind of clean. And this is another thing. These guys who've done this, and some of these country doctors, they have nothing to prove to anyone. They are so confident and loving and concerned for animals and the human beings who come into their lives that their confidence is abounding. They'll tell you. There's no, we can't tell you, we're going to get sued. Oh, it's top secret, we better not know. He's like, they'll tell you. I said, how could that? I said, they told me to put the pins in there. I said, there's no way I was going to do that. That didn't make any sense to me. And I said, and amputate? I mean, they want me to, those are the two choices they encouraged. And I said, when I said I was going to take her home, they looked at me like, believe me, I didn't go back to that vet. But I remember those two veterinarians, and I'm kind of watching them out of the corner of my eye to see how they mature, because they are working under a vet who is another superstar. Or they did for a while, then he left, he sold the practice, and then he left, he took a break. But that guy's another. We got two guys up here who are superstars, and they're like that. I mean, I went in there one time. I had up. Somebody gave me a bunch of sweet potatoes, still had the dirt on them, and you should have seen how delighted he was. He said, "I wish I could get paid like this," and he meant it. So I said, "Why? I mean, how could this happen?" I told him about her lying on her back, her legs splayed out. He goes, "Well, puppy bones heal like skin." Puppy bones heal like skin. I tell you what. Have y'all ever gotten a cut? And how fast it healed? Did you see it just comes together? And sometimes there's not even if you look at these x-rays, there's no scar. You cannot tell where it was broken. I looked at them recently so I could get this podcast together. And it's just wild. It's just wild. I'm going to eventually frame them. I'm going to frame them in a kind of frame where you can turn the light on and see. Heals like skin. I mean, pins. How do you even do that? You put pins in a. I can't get my brain around it, and I'm not a medical person, but I don't understand. I mean, what are you going to do? Go in there, ask the girls that too. I said, what are you going to do? I said, as she grows, you're going to go in there and remove the pins and put them back in. I mean, how are you going to keep up with her growth? It's going to be so rapid. They had no answer. Of course they didn't. They didn't know enough at that point in time. Put pins or cut my dog's leg off. And she healed it. The bones healed on their own. I wonder if they've developed. I got to thinking about it. I'm like, what other kind of, because I don't know, maybe in big dogs, the leg breaks. I don't know. I guess you can't do the pins. God, that horrifies me. The pins. I mean, come on, think about it. But I wonder if they have come up with some kind of like webbing. I'm talking gossamer thin that you could put on there instead of the pins that would somehow gently pull the bones together, yet if the bones resisted, the gossamer would tear. I mean, let's pay attention to what the dog is doing. I wonder if they've even come up with something like that already. I mean, pins that doesn't. Because here's what I would like to know as well. I would like to know if any puppies, and come on, and they're going to be, how many are there going to be? Because who's going to stand up to two vets? Who's going to do that? I mean, come on, they were trying. I'm like, well, you know what? I'm not having it. And guys, I'll tell you, what gave me confidence was growing up in the country. I grew up on a farm, and I saw firsthand not only the resilience, the miraculous resilience in life all around me, trees, flowers, shrubbery, animals, humans, because farming is a rough job. People are always getting hurt. I mean, one guy, he got his arm caught in a combine and he got it ripped off. I'm talking, you get hurt, you better be paying attention on a farm. I saw that, how tough not only nature is, but how tough beings are, human, animal alike. So I had that in my background. And plus, I had been hit by a car, almost drowned in beans, shot by a BB gun. So I knew a little bit about how, you know, everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. And I knew the breed. I knew black mouth cur. Every breed that's in my home, I know these dogs. I know the breed. I would not have, and that's what, and I, so you need to know the breed, okay? The kind of dog you're bringing into your home. What do you want? Why are you bringing this dog into your home? Well, you're lonesome. You want company. You're helping the dog out. Dog needs to be rehomed. It's an emergency. There are myriad reasons why people bring dogs into their lives. And that's a great thing. Dogs have taught me more about living and loving than most human beings have, except for old people. Old people have, boy, they're some of the brightest lights in my life. I love old people. Old, I'm talking over 80. I'm not talking young buck 70. I'm talking over 80, closing in on 90, closing in on 100. And so what breed are you bringing into your home? Is this dog suited to the way you're going to live? How do you live? That's what you need to see first. How do I live? Am I on the sofa all the time? Then there are dogs. There's a dog that's the perfect breed for you. Totally. That's just going to mesh with your lifestyle. Research the breed. They have this Facebook page, or they used to. I haven't been on there in a very long time. That, what was it? I think it's like it's this page where if people have trouble paying their vet bills, they can go. You can go and say, "Hey, help me," and then everybody rallies. If it's legitimate, then they rally and they help the people. They help the people pay. And boy, up north, you guys, I'm gonna tell you something. If any of y'all are listening up north, I cannot get over the prices those vets are charging and getting away with. Something that costs $10,000 up north, down here, $1,000 to $1,200. I mean, those prices are astronomical up north. So, hey, man, you better get on that page and ask for some help. But you know what? Do you know what the majority of the dogs are that are where the people are going, this dog is sick? I'm talking sick. Like you're going to the vet and then you're coming home. The dog is vomiting, diarrhea, pitiful. I'm talking legitimately sick. And the family they think they have thought out their decision. And of course they're horrified, right? Who wouldn't be? You get a puppy and then the puppy's, oh man, anyhow. So you need to know your breed. But guess what? I'm going to tell you straight up. Those sick dogs, you know what 99% of them were? Designer dogs. They're buying them, paying $5,000, $7,000 for this dog. Those were the ones who were on there. Rarely was there ever one on there that said, I got this dog from the shelter. I mean, you want a dog. Why do you want a dog? Why do you want a dog? Who cares what breed it is? Who cares? What would you rather have? A designer dog that I don't even know what to say, who is ill, who is constantly ill and makes your life a living misery because you're cleaning up vomit and diarrhea all the time? Or do you want a healthy dog? Do you want a healthy dog who is never, ever sick? Which do you prefer? I want a healthy dog. I want a healthy dog. And here, you know what? And those are my parameters. Long-legged hunting dog. Boom. That's it. Short hair. That's all. That's it. That's all I require. And as you know, we got them by the 100,000 down here. So why are you getting a dog? First, ask yourself that. And why do you want to pay $5,000 for a dog, man, that's going to be inbred backwards and forwards more than likely? I don't know. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I truly don't. You got to take that dog to the groomer all the time. You have that added expense. I don't get it. And those little bitty old tiny dogs, the tinier they are, the sicker and the weirder and the stupider they are. Those dogs barely even have a brain. They've been so inbred. You want a stupid dog? How's a stupid dog going to help you grow? How's a stupid dog going to help you grow? A dog who's been inbred to the extent that he or she can barely even think. They just sit around, lie around all the time. And y'all know what I mean. Y'all know what I mean. Some of you sitting out there, you have that dog in your home and you're like, I'm bored to death. Well, of course you are. But you had to have that dog, didn't you? Why? Why did you have to have that dog? These dogs I have are challenging. And you have to be aware. I have to be aware around my home. But they're fun. Oh my gosh. They're a ball. I mean, they're just a ball. I love watching them, being with them. Fantastic company. And they're big. So when you hug them, it's a good hug, boy. A real fulfilling, big old hug. Substantial. It's a substantial hug. But Ike, here's what happened to Ike. He became aggressive because I have big dogs, right? And some of you don't get a choice. When you foster, you don't get a choice, male, female. You get a choice, big dog, little dog. So I would do big dogs, and it wouldn't matter who was coming to my house. So I would have males. And Ike was becoming aggressive. And when you get that, when that starts happening, you got a choice to make. He was, 6 years old, 6, 7 years old when that started happening? So what am I going to do? Get rid of all my dogs? Keep Ike? No, not. So I rehomed Ike because I know this rescue, this phenomenal, Walking in the Sun, located in Morehouse Parish. She works with the Morehouse Humane Society, moving literally hundreds of dogs every single month. And almost every single month of the year. Yeah, so if y'all want to go shoot her some money, please do. She needs it desperately. And her Facebook page is crummy looking because she's not a photographer and she doesn't have time to take photos. But believe me, she's getting it. It's a fantastic rescue. And I'd gone on transports with her, so I knew where he'd be going. And so there was this lady. Where did he went to Saugerties, the Saugerties shelter, Saugerties, New York. They got some phenomenal rescues up there. Phenomenal people working, saving dogs in Saugerties, New York. Ulster County is what that is. Check out Ulster County K9. They're phenomenal. That's a great rescue. And they're in a house. It's in a house. Very interesting. You should go look at their Facebook page. And then the Saugerties, they were trying to build a shelter, get money together for a shelter. Charming. What a charming shelter. So there was this lady who had been, and this is another thing that Southern people would never do because we don't have the luxury of doing something like this. We just don't. We have too many. We're overrun with dogs down here. And this lady, though, there's more sanity up there regarding their companion animals. There's a saner way of doing things. And I didn't believe it until I saw it. I mean, I didn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I don't believe it. There's no way. They're human beings. You think everybody's like that? No, it's different. It is different. And she tried to tell me, the Walking in the Sun um, rescue tried to tell me it's different. And it is. It is different. It's different. And so there was this elderly lady. Her husband passed away, and they'd always had dogs. But then he became ill, and from I believe it was heart disease, and frail as well, and could not walk as well as he used to. And so when their dog passed away, they did not get another dog because they didn't want him to trip and fall over the dog. So they waited. So when he passed away, and these people had dogs all their lives. I mean, what a mature decision. I don't think I could ever be that mature. Your husband might trip and fall. I'd be like, look, I got to have a dog in the house. I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could not have a dog. So her husband passed away, and she wanted a small dog. This lady waited. She waited for the right dog to come up. And she waited for almost a year. And she did not cave. Okay, and we're sending dogs up there constantly, and they're coming from all over the place. Okay, this Walking in the Sun is not the only rescue who takes dogs to this particular shelter. It's Socrates Animal Shelter. I can't remember the name of it, but they're the ones. If you want to look them up, they either are trying to build a shelter, or if they have a shelter now, it's brand spanking new. So that's where Ike went, and he had never, and this lady at Walking in the Sun, I said, look. And she knew that this lady was looking for the little dog, because the shelter would tell her every time she went up, this lady wants a little dog. And of course, no little dogs were coming. And then here's Ike, because Ike was not, my situation was no longer it's no longer a fit for him. That aggressive stuff. You gotta, no, it's hard. If you don't change your dynamic. And I mean, and that was not going to change. I was fostering, and I had mine. So that was not, and he snipped at me. I'm like, okay. So I knew and so this lady was waiting on little dog. And so he went, and she set it up that she let him know. And the lady did not go, I want him now. I mean, that's how mature, insane this human being is. She said, I'm going to meet him, and then I'll decide. Well, Ike went, and golly, I mean, oh man. Human beings are capable of such phenomenal love and compassion. I mean, we are. We truly are. So he went, and he never set foot in the shelter. That lady was waiting in the parking lot for him to arrive. And of course, it was wintertime, and I kept his hair short because we always went to the woods, and so it was filthy. So he was groomed year round. But he had lots of clothes. Ike loved wearing clothes. And so I sent him with all his clothes, and he had his jacket on that I knew would be warm, and he would be comfortable in the crate. And so that lady was waiting for him, and I guess when she saw him, she fell in love. And so I have a picture of when the lady got him, and and she looked so happy. And Ike he looked like, I don't understand. And yeah, that broke my heart. But his little personality was taking a turn for the worse. So I had to make a decision. And so I did. And so anyhow, so he's the only dog in the home And it's the cutest thing. And this lady, we correspond regularly, and she renamed him Louie, Louisiana Leaping Louie, because, of course, he's in the woods, running full blast and trying to kill dogs, seducing them to the street. Agile is the understatement of the year. And I guess she was shocked. I mean, and he had thighs like, yeah. And so she asked me. She took him to the vet. He'd already been vetted before with these rescues. Before you're able to send the dogs north, they have to be vetted like you would not believe. I mean, just completely every I dotted T cross. I mean, just to the T, okay, to the letter. Get the health certificate. They're ready to go and they're healthy. At least walking in the sun. She is on it. She's a nurse as well, so she's on it doubly. But anyhow, the lady took him to the vet, and he was 7 when he went. And so she sent me a letter, and she said, yeah, the vet. And she said, he looked like he was 4 to 5 years old. And I wrote her back and said, he's 7. He's 7. I take care of my dogs because I love them and I want them. And I need them. I need them in my life. But it was really cool because when he is 7, she's 77. When he is 8, she's 78. So that's very lovely. And he was trained. He was leash trained, car trained, could eat off a spoon, eat off a fork, knew how to lick a sharp knife with expertise, never get cut. Could ride in a buggy. I took him everywhere. I mean, he could ride in the buggy. Go in the store. Everybody loved him. He was trained in all of that when she got him. But if he was a wild man. But he calmed down, y'all. He calmed down. I'm going to tell you something, which kind of made me feel bad. But you never know. You try. You do the best you can. In the photos, he looks so calm and relaxed. And he never looked like that here. He never looked that relaxed, ever. So that little dog, I guess he was just, I didn't know. I didn't know. You don't know until you know. She sent me a photo recently, and he is just, they're happy as felox. They go everywhere together because he can. He had that. He had that delight ready for her life, that gift. And she just adores him. And every letter she sends me, their love, she loves him more and more and more. And she buys him toys that nobody will take from him because he could not have a toy here. Forget it. He'd get a toy, the other dog would take it. It's over. He never got it again. So funny. So he is happier than he's ever been in his life. More relaxed. He's living on life with a 78-year-old woman who is active. She's an artist as well. A very tender, caring, loving, sane human being. That's how you rehome a dog. That's how you rehome a dog you love. If you can't do it like that, well, you can. You're just going to have to look around and do it because, you see that all the time. I got to rehome this dog. Sure you do. You got to rehome the dog. And here's what I want to know from veterinarians. Of all of the 9-week-old puppies who were run over by a car, a tractor, a lawnmower, whose legs are broken in 2 places, not shattered, but broken. The cur did not have pieces of bone up in there. It was just a broken, like one with like jaggedy and the other one. So of all the dogs, 9-week-old big dogs, I'm talking big dogs, not little dogs, I want to know if they ever develop a limp from the pin deal. Of course, they're not from the amputation, but yeah, they are from the amputation. And when you amputate the dog's legs, the body has to accommodate. So it's critical, for one thing, that you keep that dog at his or her ideal weight. Otherwise, you are putting strain on the spine. That's right, the spine. Anybody out there with back trouble? You like it? Because if the dog is limping, because the cur, she doesn't limp. She's perfect. Perfect. There's no limp at all. That foster, he went, and I don't foster anymore because they all beat her up. So there's no, she doesn't limp. She's flawless. Better than flawless. Her bones grew back stronger. But what I had to do, I'm telling you, it was not easy. It was completely time consuming. My life came to a stop. I mean, it was worth it. It was worth it. It was worth it. And I would do it again in a heartbeat. And yes, did I want to go to those veterinarians and say, you two y'all need to get some advice from somewhere. If I were a veterinarian, if I were a young veterinarian, what I would do, I'd try to find a country vet, because you're going to deal with every kind of animal and see everything, especially. And I would come down to the South, because yes, you're going to be horrified, but you are going to see everything. You are going to encounter everything on the planet, every disease, because we don't take care of our animals, okay? We're like, you're on your own. Parvo, too bad. Deal with it. Heartworms, too bad. Deal with it. So you see everything. So that's what I would do. I'd go work under that guy. I would humble myself and go work under that guy for 10 years. 10 years I'd work under that guy. Either one of those two. Total sweethearts. I'll tell you something. You come out of, and surgeons, these guys are phenomenal surgeons. If I have, if one of my dogs needs surgery, I don't go to my regular vet. I go to them. I find out where they are, and they will do the surgery if I need surgery. But the car, she, that's where I'm like, she has to. So, has anybody had surgery? No, nobody's had surgery around here. No. So go work under a vet like that, and you got to go to you got to get uncomfortable. If you're coming from New York or a big city, it won't be an easy 10 years. It will not. Socially, I don't even know if you'll have a social life, because there's not a lot to do around here. But the skills you acquire from working under these country vets who've been doing it for decades, boy, I tell you. And then to work with these two men who are these phenomenal human beings. So you will learn how to be an excellent surgeon, an excellent to diagnose. Those two are geniuses at diagnosing, both of them. You'll learn how to do that, surgery, diagnosing the dog. But most of all, and this is the most important thing, you'll learn how to be a human being. You will learn how to be a well-rounded human being, because you will see how they treat you, how they treat their family, their grandkids, and everyone whom they serve. And trust me, they're servants. They're serving. They're not looking what they can get. We've got phenomenal veterinarians down here. If not, they don't last long. Southern people, we're like that. We don't put up with stuff down here. We don't put up with it. You get about 2 chances with us, and it's like, no, we're not going back. Your business is shut down. We're like that down here. So anyhow, back to the limp. Because let's go with I know this lady. She cleans rooms at a assisted living facility. She cleans about 15 rooms a day. Okay, that's a lot of rooms. Well, when she arrives, she's not limping. But when she leaves, and I've seen her walking down on the sidewalk, she walks home. She lives close to the place. And I've seen her walking home. And she's limping. And there is a grimace of pain on her face. And she looks uncomfortable. Because if you are limping, human being, you are in pain. You are in pain. And it's constant because you're constantly limping. And then sometimes you got to sit down because you've been on your feet too long and the pain is excruciating and you flat out can't stand up any longer. All right? If you see someone limping, they're in pain. They're in pain. They're suffering. And they're probably on a leave or Tylenol, and still, it's not cutting it. Well, it's the same thing with animals. If you see a dog limping, a cat limping, a lizard limping, a turtle limping, a horse limping, a rhinoceros limping, a tiger limping, that animal is in pain. Animals feel. Animals feel. They are living, breathing, thinking, feeling, problem-solving beings. I mean, there's Ike seducing everybody. He figured out how to get everybody killed. He figured it out. And I don't know how he figured out that they would indeed die, because, but he did. He knew that was a lethal deal, and he was getting rid of them, and that was it. So they're sharp. Animals are smart. Animals are smart. But if they're limping, they're in pain. If they get hit by a car, you don't leave them in the yard for a week. You take them to the vet. They're in excruciating pain. I wonder what I would think if you came to me and I said, you got to do the pins or you got to amputate. If you came to me 10 years later with your dog and said, hey, I just want to show you. I don't know if you remember me. I wonder if I would see the dog had healed perfectly. And I had advised doing the pins or amputating. And believe me, until I understood and had learned enough, I would have advised that over and over and over again. I wonder what I would think if I'm a veterinarian, sworn, I sign an oath, swearing to protect, care for animals. Would I be appalled at my advice? That dog, I would have cut her leg off, but she'd be fine, or I would have assigned to her a permanent limp. I could be wrong about the limp. I want to know. Do puppies who are 9 weeks old, big dog puppies, who have a break, not where the bone, multiple breaks, fracture, break, not shattered, okay? And you have to put pins in, and you do. You don't have to, but you do, because you don't, maybe nobody told you that puppy bones heal like skin. Surely, why don't they know that? I don't know. But what would I think? I would have taken that dog's leg off. I don't know. I don't know. I never went back. I never went back. Period. So you got to follow your gut. But how are you going to follow your gut if you don't know the dog breed? And how are you going to follow your gut if you don't know dogs? How resilient life is. Our bodies are constantly healing, constantly healing. Give your body time. Tell your body heal. See what happens. So that would have been it. Put the pins in her. She'd be limping around. And then she'd get tired at the end of the day because it hurts. But again, I say to you, my background of growing up on a farm, that helped me 5,000% in that. And plus the fact they were 12 years old, you know, they didn't know what they were talking about. I'm like, what? You know what a blackmouth cur is? Blackmouth curs are rare, guys. You don't see them around much because they're so valued. I mean, they're valued dogs. They're amazing. They're amazing. Amazing pets. I mean, she has a sweet side to her, totally. And she's perfect. Yeah, she's a little insane, but you know what? I like her like that. I like her wild. I like it. Love is pregnant, real pregnant. Oh man, you can totally tell she's a puppy. Oh my gosh, I mean, I can't even get mad about it. I can't. I just, I just spending my time blessing that belly. That every puppy she has will live, and that she will not have 15. Because I don't know if her little body could handle that. But her belly is growing. And so what she's doing, she knows now that this is her home. That took a long time, that decompression. It took what is it, almost, look, I got her on the 14th of last month, and now we're at the 16th. So she just now knows that she's home. There were some skerfuffles that you had to chill. We had to get that all in order. But she still doesn't know who she is. She doesn't know yet. She's a puppy. She doesn't know. And then she's pregnant, and she'll go to the front yard, lie in the sun, lie on the grass, and then she'll come and lie on the front porch, and then she'll come inside. She spends most of her time lying inside on the cool tile floor. That is where she chooses to be, even though she adores me. She's too cool for school. She's not a Velcro dog, which is sometimes those dogs come into your life that are rescue, and they're Velcro. I mean, literally Velcro. Everywhere you turn, they're there. She's not like that. She never was, and she's the sweetest girl. She is so appropriately named. I mean, she's pure love. She's pure love. She don't know what's going on with her body. I'm going to tell you something else. That beauty that I was talking about to the sky on the last podcast, you're not seeing it because her body's getting misshapen. And she's not attractive. You can't see, that beauty is not as evident as it was. But so she is choosing to be in the air-conditioned environment. She has a choice of, I have these elevated dog beds. She can, with a cushion on them. She can choose to lie on the elevated dog, and there's always one free. There's enough. Nobody has to fight about it. There's always a dog bed free. She can get on the sofa. She can do whatever she wants. She chooses to be on the floor, and that's where she spends most of her time. So let us recall, she was outside, and down here it gets hot. What would she have done? What would she have done? She was been running around, I guess, getting fed by whomever, Then they would have seen, oh, she's pregnant. I guess they would have waited on somebody, and then they would have. I mean, I don't know. And so I went to the shelter because our shelter, Washita Parish animal, I found she was in Washita Parish. That shelter is amazing. God, it's our high kill shelter. When I went over there to see, situation about the puppies getting on a puppy transport, because I have the options here because of the connections that I have, I just wanted to see what was going on. There was a sign outside that said, "We are full," and there are people bringing in dogs. Bringing in dogs. It's a high kill shelter. It says, "We're full. Go ahead. Bring your dog in." And smiles. People who work at that shelter, smiling. I don't know how they can even be in a good mood. They just have that gift. I mean, but there's no way that a human being can take that environment. What happens, what occurs, where you see quite frankly, the depravity of man. I mean, what do you think? We're full. You bring in the. What do you think that means? I almost told that lady, what do you think "we are full" means? What do you think? What your dog here? And the dog was leash trained, by the way. Okay, so you know what that means. This dog was a family pet. Bring them on in. And those people were friendly, but you can't. I mean, working in a shelter where it's high kill. I don't know about how that goes long term on the human spirit, psyche. I hope that you good, wonderful, incredible people will recognize when you got to get out of there, because you can't stay in a place like that. You can't do it to yourself. I don't care how much you love animals. Go to another one and we got them here. We've got shelters that are no kill. But there's no such thing as no kill. And if you got a shelter that's swearing they're no kill, you need to go look around at that shelter. You need to go check it out. You need to go check it out. In the South. I'm talking about in the South. Maybe in Utah and Washington State, it's different. But here, it's not humane. Humane is human with an E on it. If anybody didn't know that. So yeah, Ike, I mean, he's happy. Leaping Louie, she just adores him. And he looks so relaxed. You wonder you think you're giving your dog the best life, but I don't know, you got a bunch of dogs and then you got that too, right? You got a bunch of dogs, and are you able to give each dog, that taught me too. You got a bunch of dogs. How are you giving those dogs? How are you seeing those dogs? Are you giving everybody the attention that they need? I mean, that woke me up, boy. It made me look at my dogs a lot more. I'm like, can everybody relax here? And yes, mine can. They're happy. Who's in here now? Everybody's in here sleeping. Everybody's in here sleeping. I'm going to go outside and mow the yard. They're all going to come with me. Then I'm going to come in because I'm thirsty after 5 minutes. They're all going to come with me. Then I'm going to go back out, go to the backyard, mess around with the fence. They're going to come with me. I love that. I love that. I love that they follow me around. And then because they love riding in the car, I'm going to take them in the car because they're so wonderful. I'm going to go ride around, let them hang out the window. Yeah, Love doesn't hang out the window anymore. She stays in the car. Do I roll the windows down all the way? No, I do not, because I don't know if she's there yet. I wouldn't want her to jump out. Yeah, but I'm looking at that belly, and that belly's getting bigger every day. And she is too. So she's going to be taller. She's getting taller and wider. And I mean, the sweetest dog. Isn't it interesting, the dogs who come into your life at certain times in your life? I needed this dog. You know it? This sweet girl. I mean, sweet to the core. My black lab mix is mean. The cur is wild. The pit, she's lazy as all get out. I'm going to tell you that right now. The pit's lazy. But this one, she's not, yeah, the pit is sweet, but not as sweet as love is. Love is just sweet, 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 sweet. When I got her, she would sit down all the time. I've seen that before. I saw that when I was fostering. That maniacal sitting down, and she's looking at me going, I'm gonna please you. I'll sit down. I've seen families do that. Sit, which is an act of control and an act of domination, which is an act of contempt. Why does your dog need to sit down? What is the purpose of that? I understand if they're training, they're doing those agility things, the dog has to sit. That's part of the deal. And those dogs are highly trained. I get that. But a family dog, why does a dog need to sit? What is the purpose of that? I want you to think about it. And I want you to watch your dogs. My dogs never sit like that sit thing, where it's straight back, the perfect posture. My dogs never do that. If they sit, it's sloppy sitting. So why do they need to sit? What is the purpose of a family dog sitting? Why do you need to tell them that? What does that do? It's control and domination is what it is. Because that's what we've been taught, guys. That's what we've been taught. You understand? We got to change our way of thinking about dogs. And then we're going to change our way of treating them. This contempt stuff. No. Watch your dog. How many are they sitting all the time? And when they do sit, is it in that perfect little sit that you're commanding them to sit in? Are they doing it like that? No. They're never doing it like that. They're sloppy sitting on their hips, leaning over. Or they're lying down, or they're standing up. Why do you need to tell a dog to sit? I don't know. Somebody can write me a letter and tell me. If I'm wrong, I'll totally apologize and read your letter. Because I'm learning. I'm learning every day about dogs. And I will be learning about them for the rest of my life. Because they're these magnificent, multidimensional beings who, just like us, who are constantly evolving. Especially when you give them an environment where they're cherished. That's one thing that's so much fun about them, is they grow with us, and we're always growing. One way or another, we're always growing. One day I'm going to be able to show you all those x-rays. Puppy bones heal like skin. Who knew? I'll keep y'all posted on love. Yeah, I'm getting kind of nervous about the puppy situation. I am. I'm collecting newspapers. I don't have enough yet. I've only got, if I were to stack it up, it's only about 6 foot tall. I need to have a stack of papers. 2 stacks, 20 feet tall. That would be a comfort. Then I would know maybe I have enough newspaper. Maybe. I hope she has 4. 4 perfect puppies for her body. I hope that's all. She didn't deserve this. And it could have been so easily avoided. Down here, it costs $100. There's just one place that costs $60 to get your dog spayed. $60, no matter what size. $60. Spay. I think it's $40 to neuter. But I'm glad she's in my life. And I'll keep her until she decides to go. And I hope her sweetness rubs off on me, because I think y'all know I need it. This has been Dog Food with Catherine Abel. Thank y'all for listening to me. I love talking to you. I really do.